In today's video, we're going to be talking about Sung Jin Woo's dad, and Sung Jin Woo's dad is Sung Il Hwan. And the reason why we're going to be talking about him is because he was a ruler. But his story first starts off about 10 years ago in the solo leveling timeline. And the reason why he became a hunter is because he was trying to provide for his newborn children, which was Sung Jin Woo and his sister. What happened was that when he went into one of his dungeons that he was grinding out like all the hunters do to make a living, he went into a dungeon and all of a sudden the dungeon just closed on him. He couldn't, like, there was nowhere for him to go. It just closed on him and he couldn't get back to civilization, basically. And he was stuck in there for about 10 years. He was just living on killing monsters and surviving in this dungeon for about 10 years until eventually he's going to die of starvation because there's literally nothing left in the dungeon. And then that's when a miracle happened and the rulers came down and wanted him to be one of the 7 vassals. I'm going to make a video on one of the 7 vassals of solo leveling, so leave a comment below if you guys want to hear or if you want me to make that video. But he became a 7 vassal and he became a vassal of a ruler. So that ruler gave him extreme power. The 7 vassals are probably the most powerful hunters in solo leveling. But in exchange for that power, he had to basically go on a mission to kill the Shadow Monarch. However, Sung Il Hwan didn't know in the future that the Shadow Monarch was going to be his own son. So that's kind of a dilemma going on right there. But after that, he eventually came back to the human world after the rulers, gave him his powers and he trained and tried to use them. He eventually came back to the human world and he ended up in America, in one of the American dungeons. And all of a sudden, a group of A-rank hunters ran into him and they were like, whoa, what the hell's going on? There's this dude in here and he doesn't really speak English, probably the most powerful being in this dungeon. So Sung Il Hwan was kind of pressed. He really couldn't do anything, so he just knocked them out. He couldn't communicate with them, and they were about to, basically kill him. So he just knocked them all out with ease, just because he's such a powerful hunter. And then later on, the Federal Bureau of Hunters in America went on to arrest him because they thought he was a magic beast because he couldn't communicate with them and that he was such a powerful being. The person they sent in to basically interrogate him and to get answers out of him was Huang Dong. And if you guys didn't read Solo Leveling, Huang Dong is a brother of a hunter that Sung Jin Woo previously killed in one of the dungeons. So as you can see, there's definitely a conflict of interest going on there. And once Sung Il Hwan found out that Huang Dong was trying to get revenge on his son, all hell broke loose. He basically just blew up with his own powers. He blew up the Federal Bureau's Hunters HQ in like a second, and then he just brutally destroyed this guy Huang Dong in a fight. And then when he was about to walk away, he said, "You know what? Don't ever touch my son. Don't ever go to Korea. If not, you're gonna fucking die." And then basically that's the last time we saw him. And then he went on. He later reappeared in the manhwa when the monarchs were starting to set their foot onto Earth, and he found out that the Frost Monarch was, trying to, the Frost and the Beast Monarch and the Insect Monarch were trying to kill Sung Jin Woo. So he kind of lured a trap for the Frost Monarch. He started leaving mana traces around dungeons, and the Frost Monarch finally came to him, and he tried to, do an ambush on him and kill him there. But unfortunately, it didn't work out because the Monarch was just way too strong for him at the time. Next time we see him in the manhwa, there's an international conference for the hunters because they couldn't find out. They needed to find out who was killing the rulers' vassals, who were killing all the influential, strongest hunters after the Christopher Reed assassination. They thought it was Sung Il Hwan. So the whole every hunter in the world was found out that Sung Jin Woo's dad was still alive, and Sung Jin Woo was really mad about that because he didn't know that his dad was alive, and all the hunters in the world were keeping it a secret from him. And then that kind of led to Il Hwan figuring out that Sung Jin Woo was the actual vessel of the Shadow Monarch. He was one of the 7 vassals in solo leveling, and that he kind of had like a midlife crisis. He was like, do I really have to kill my own son? And he wasn't really rocking with that. But later on, the rulers kind of, the rulers kind of helped him out because Sung Jin Woo actually went ahead and killed Legia, like the Monarch of Giants. And so the rulers were like, wait a second, this guy might be on our side. So you know what, Il Hwan, go and protect your son, and we'll see if this works out. And as we know, it kind of did work out, because later on, when the monarchs were trying to kill Sung Jin Woo, the Beast Monarch, the Frost Monarch, the Insect Monarch, they all went and tried to hold this like ambush on Sung Jin Woo, and it almost worked. They almost killed him. I mean, the Frost Monarch and the Beast Monarch impaled him, and they thought they killed him, but Il Hwan came in at the last second and basically held off the Frost Monarch and the Beast Monarch by himself. And those are probably one of the best mono panels in Solo Leveling. It just looks so good, that fight between them. And then he basically held them off until Sung Jin Woo reawakened his powers, and that black heart came into his body, and he reawakened he gained full powers of the Shadow Monarch, and Sung Jin Woo just swiftly dispatched them like it was a breeze. He didn't struggle with them at all. And then after that, he went and found his dad, and his dad was literally on death's door because he had used too much of his ruler's powers, and he was literally fading into dust. And later on, kind of just told him his whole life story, like what happened, why he never saw him. He was stuck in a dungeon, and what he was doing behind the scenes. And then he told him that he was, really apologetic for not being in his son's life, and that even though he wasn't there, Sung Jin Woo really grew up into a man. He was very proud of him, and the last time we saw him in the manhwa is that he was giving a hug to Sung Jin Woo while he was crying, and then he eventually faded into the dust. So that's really all we know about Il Hwan. If you guys have any more, leave them in the comments below. But the only unique power that Il Hwan had was that he was kind of like an assassin type of ruler. He was able to just instantly just put on like a shadow of cloak or something, and he would instantly disappear. So you couldn't find him magically, you couldn't find him physically. He was just invisible. He would just go in and out of existence. So that's really the only power that he had. But yeah, leave a like if you guys liked it, and leave it in the comments below. Did you guys know that Sung Jin Woo had a dad? Or did you even know about that? I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.
Go.